Home-cooked food should be relaxed and casual. It should reflect our personalities, not our aspirations. Restaurant chefs, they have to innovate to impress the paying customer. But we are under no such obligations. When I invite friends over for supper, I don't want to impress them with my cooking. I want to give them and myself pleasure. When you ask people over to eat, you're not inviting them to some grand ambassadorial event. It's just your kitchen, your friends. I know it can be stressful. I once went to a dinner party given by a friend of mine. Really lovely food. But as the evening progressed, she got more and more hysterical. You know, more and more delicious courses, more and more hysteria. By the time the pudding came, you know, we could hear her sobbing uncontrollably from the kitchen. I mean, no one wants to get in a state like that, however good the food. My way round this is by having, I suppose, something like a Middle Eastern meze, by which I mean lots of bowlfuls of lovely food all on the table at once. So you're not popping up and down from table to kitchen all evening getting stressed. You're sitting at the table with your friends, enjoying yourselves, which is what it's about. One of my favourite and regular bits of picky food are string beans with prosciutto. Really delicious and really easy. I've cooked and drained the beans already and cooled them by running them under the cold tap, and now I'm ready for my final assembly. All you need to do to these is get a little bundle, dunk them in balsamic vinegar and wrap them in a bit of Parma ham. It looks fussier than the food I often like, but it does taste so good. I know saying wrap anything in something else sounds terribly shishi and a bit 80s, but really they're not, and you can tell that by the way I do them. The point is to provide a wonderful, abundant table. It doesn't matter what you buy and what you make, and you can zhuzh up bought hummus really well by mixing in some Greek yogurt, maybe an extra squirt of lemon if you think it needs it. The Greek yogurt just gives a wonderful smoothness. Got my bowls. Now, some olive oil. And some toasted pine nuts. By toasted, I mean just fried in a dry frying pan for a few minutes until they go golden and brown. And when they're in season, you can use pomegranate seeds here too, which is very Lebanese and very delicious. Okay, a quick jaunt from the Eastern Mediterranean to Mexico. Guacamole. I love this guacamole. I mean, of course I do, it's the one I make. I've got 6 scooped out avocados here, and now I have some spring onions on top of them, some wonderfully finely chopped green chilli, limes, the crucial edge, most important ingredient after avocados. This reamer means that you get a lot of pulp out from the limes too, which is great here, but you know, use any instrument you want. I'm using the juice of 4 limes here, but you might want to add more, you might want to add less. This is so much a matter of taste. That's great. Now, my tip. Add the salt to the juice in the jug so the salt dissolves, and then you get that wonderful salty intensity spread throughout the guacamole, not just in selected lumps. And mash. Fork's fine. What I want is a soft, chunky texture. I don't want this too finely mushed up. Of course, this makes it lighter work as well. Enough chopping. Now, this is just how I like it. Let me just taste to see if it needs anything else. Perfect. Just coriander. A wonderful leafy blanket of it. Mash some in, leave some on the top, and that is divine. So now, tidy it up a bit. I'm not a great stickler for neatness, but I think a quick wipe down will make it look better. Salads are the only foodstuff I'm a purist about. It has to be a green salad or a red salad. I eat tomatoes. This you can see is a green salad.
How lovely.
I think we need to have one in the oven.
About
There you go.
too beautiful.
John is making the most fabulous drink. We kind of live off it during summer. Sweet, fizzy white wine, Moscato d'Asti if you can get it. This is Asti Spumante. It's sort of adapted from a river cafe recipe with the juice of 5 limes per bottle. It is so wonderful, addictive. You should try it.
Yes, I'll have it.
It's a really last-minute dish, but it's incredibly easy and incredibly quick. Tiger prawns with garlic and chilli. Just warming, sizzling the garlic and chilli, and then tossing in these prawns and just watch as they turn pink. Alchemy, so incredible. Just a splash of white wine, lid on, a few minutes steaming to be cooked, and that is really it.
Which plate are you going to see if you're in? Comes back to
Oh, I was in last night, but through the window because I'm able to see it.
Here you are.
fantastic.
Do you want me to cut?
Actually, there's some nice juice here.
Yes,
Yeah, no, wait, sometimes, but they're quite thick on these.
yeah, as I do.
Well, cheers, Nigella. Thank you very much.
Coming.
I don't know. I just got the night bus. I just conveniently got up. Thank you.
Everyone seems to love Caesar salad, and when you've got friends around to eat, it is really very adaptable. Obviously, it makes a great starter, but I think it makes a really wonderful light main course too. In place of the usual croutons, I roast sliced small potatoes in garlic-infused olive oil, which is a bit of salt will I get on with the dressing, couple of eggs, just boiled for a minute, not cooked, just warmed through. And a match. Don't ask me, it's my great aunt's tip. She said that if you put a match into the water when you cook an egg, if the shell cracks, the white doesn't flow into the water. I do what I'm told. Lettuce, lovely cause. The dressing is simple, bit of olive oil, a few drops of Worcester sauce, bit of salt, lemon, I like this bit. Now just toss this so that you've got a kind of wonderful, well, like a thin mayonnaise coating. Obviously, the eggs are not cooked. I mean, 1 minute doesn't cook them, so use eggs that you feel confident about. Wonderful parmesan, quite a bit. You want to taste the cheese. So the last bit of tossing so that everything is mixed and... So a bit of a degunge operation. Final bit of cheese over. A few more potatoes. I do love this. I don't go in for formal dinner parties. Even when I'm having a dinner to mark some really special occasion, I like to keep things simple, which for me means, on the whole, no starter, just main course and pudding. Hello. I need a line of pork. Bye, see you. Now, what I need from you, please, is a kilo of rhubarb.
A kilo of rhubarb on its way. Anything else you're after today, Nigella?
I don't think so. I mean, I know there will be something that I've forgotten, but I'll have to come back.
Well, we're here till 6:30.
Making a drop-dead gorgeous pudding doesn't mean attempting something so demanding that you're completely stressed out by it. The key for me is something that can be made in advance. I am mad for jellies. They are incredibly easy to make, and this one is one of my favourites. It's a lovely pink one made out of rhubarb and muscat wine. And the reason why jellies are so easy to make, because of this. Looks like a fairy tale castle window. It is leaf gelatin. So wonderful. Much easier than the powdered salt, which I cannot make work. They just need to be softened in cold water for about 5 minutes, just until they feel like jelly and not stiff anymore. I'm using 10 for this jelly. They come in packets of 8. While the gelatin's softening, I'm going to strain the rhubarb. One of the benefits of poaching rhubarb in the oven is that it holds its shape well and it keeps its colour, which is useful here because I don't want all stringy bits of rhubarb in the liquid. I want a nice clear jelly, and also because I want it as pink as possible. It's a kilo of rhubarb chopped with 350 grams of sugar, zest and juice of 1 orange and half a litre of water. Just cover with foil and cook in a moderate oven for an hour. And although I'm not going to use all the pulp in the jelly, it's incredibly useful. You either just freeze it and use it in tarts or just eat it with custard, or I quite like it eaten with Greek yoghurt for breakfast. I'm going to pour the rest now. So gloriously pink, all natural, no makeup. I'm trying to shake out the maximum amount of juice, but I don't want to push it because then it'll make the jelly cloudy later. I want it jewel bright. For the rest, it's easy. Pour in some muscat wine to make it up to 1.5 litres, and how very satisfying, because that's the whole of this bottle, which is in fact a half bottle. Nothing wasted. Taste, see if I need to add more sugar or anything. It's so good. Like a grown-up version of those rhubarb sweets with custard that I used to eat as a child. Now we're ready for the gelatine stage. But before I do that, I'm just going to pour a bit of liquid out into a saucepan, because it's easier to dissolve the actual gelatin into a small amount of liquid. Put the flame under it just for a bit, because I don't want it boiling just hot. And now, for my favourite bit, squeezing out the gelatin leaves. There's something so curiously satisfying about all that squelching. Oh, how lovely is this? Look. Yeah. Creature from the deep. Right, that's hot enough. So I'm just going to... Oh, lovely. And it's dissolved. The reason I turn the flame off first is that if jelly boils, it goes stringy. A proper jelly needs a proper mould, one with lovely crenellations or castles, something bulging and old-fashioned. You need to oil it first. I know, vegetable oil, almond oil, nothing that will interfere with the taste of the jelly. Just wipe it around with a bit of kitchen towel. If your jelly mould has got a lid, but not all do, remember to oil the lid as well. Just leave to cool slightly before chilling in the fridge. I like to leave a jelly for at least 6 hours, but mostly I just do it the day before, like today. actually, let me show you my wine slushes. This is red wine, white wine, both frozen. And what I do when we have people around for supper and there's wine left over, you know, in the bottle, but I'm afraid to say it's actually also sometimes in people's glasses, I pour it out into plastic bags and stick it in the deep freeze so that if I ever need just, say, a glass for a stew or something, I don't have to open a whole bottle. And I know that wine snobs will say this is the most atrocious thing you can do, but I'm telling you it works very well indeed. Having a dinner party doesn't mean to say you have to start swinging from the chandelier, culinarily speaking. One of my celebratory regulars is loin of pork with bay leaves. It's simple, but it's elegant. And when it's finished cooking and it's carved and it's laid out to cover a huge plate, circled with bay leaves, it looks so wonderful and welcoming and abundant. And that's what I always want from food. What I'm really thinking about here is maximum flavour for minimum effort, useful when you're cooking for a lot of people, which is why I'm not even bothering to peel this onion, just slicing it. It's true, the skin will give a lovely golden colour to the gravy later. The real reason I'm not peeling it is just out of laziness rather than as to use it as a dye. This is going to go into the pan, but first some lovely garlic-infused olive oil. You can use ordinary olive oil with garlic, but this is quicker and it means you don't get any burnt shards of garlic later. Now the onion, my floor of flavour and floor for the pork. On top of that, bay leaves. Lovely fresh bay leaves. Use dried if you can't get fresh. And then this wonderful loin of pork on its little flavour platform. I asked the butcher to give me the bones he'd taken out, and I'm plonking them here because they will give such a wonderful porky flavour to the gravy, and also because I do like to make sure I get my cook's treat. Now the rub, which I love, and it's just more garlic-infused olive oil, peppercorns, and some dried bay leaves, just simply because it's easier to sort of crunch them down. Final touch, some salt, nice coarse salt, beautiful. And that's it, just in a moderately hot oven for about just under 2 hours. An hour and 3/4 is when I'll look at it. This is perfect. Close the oven. It's just that wonderful golden burnish colour, which comes from, in part, these bones, and also because of the onion skin. Let's take the meat and try and strain out these juices without causing major damage. Get every last bit of juice out of the onions. I think of this as gravy, but it's not normal gravy in that I'm not using flour to thicken it. All it is those wonderful oniony pork juices, which I'm going to boil down, and 150 ml of water, and about the same amount of wine. But you don't have to be precise. You can't tell, until I've tasted it, I can't tell what I need more of. Just hope I don't need less of anything. My special tasting spoon. And of course, by letting it boil for a bit, you can also reduce it to make it thicker and slightly more syrupy. Just while I'm waiting for the juices to reduce a bit more, a really spectacularly good part of the whole exercise. My spare ribs. So delicious. Now for my salad. Parsley is the first and major ingredient, and I'm not using the parsley as a herb, but as the main ingredient. You know, I want bulk. Right, perfect. Second ingredient, red onion. Easiest way to fill that, just take the ends off. Cut in half, take off the skin. And just cut in half moons. Looks beautiful that way. Rain these down. And my third ingredient, capers. Really balance these two incredibly well. These have been packed in salt, which does make them really too salty, so I've been soaking them in water. You can use capers that have been stored in vinegar. They won't be as good as this, but if you can't find salted capers, do not worry. Lovely. These are salty enough. I'm not going to add any more salt. Olive oil. Lemon. Not much lemon. Once you make this salad, you just find an excuse to make it over and over again. Not that you need an excuse. Pleasure is reason enough. Carving's not my strong point, so be kind. But what you want are lovely thin slices, which you then pile up in the centre of a huge plate. And then, although I don't normally go in for prinking, what I do is a final Napoleonic flourish, which is a circle of bay leaves all around the piled up pork on the plate. Looks wonderful. A bit of gravy ladled on now will stop the meat drying out if it has to sit for a bit. And if it has to sit for a lot, then just tent it with some tin foil. And then the rest of the gravy you can keep in a sauce boat and people can just help themselves on the table. Dribbling.
Okay, what can I buy for Robert?
Bit. Perfect. Look at that. All that wibble wobble. I'm thrilled. I don't think it needs anything else.
Wow, that